Let's take a look at natural minor scales. Many of my students come up to me and say, hey, I need to learn my natural minor scales. I say, do you already know all 12 of your major scales? They say, yes. I say, well, then you already know your natural minor scales. Because if we look at it this way in modes, for example, here's an A natural minor scale. It's naturally occurring in the C major scale as well as A minor. Both have no flats, no sharps. Okay? So it's a part of the C major scale. If I play C to C, everybody knows this scale for the most part. That's a C major scale. Well, if I think about it, about starting on the sixth pitch from A, and I can transpose it down, or I could think down a minor third to the low A and play A to A with no sharps, no flats. That's your natural minor scale. Or you could think of it starting on the sixth note of the major scale, any major scale. So here's my thought. Rather than thinking, okay, I need to play a natural minor, and this is the way when I was a youngster I used to think of it like this. Well, I knew the A major scale had three sharps in it. C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. That's the A major scale. But in order to make it a natural minor scale, I have to lower the third by a half step, which makes it C. Lower the sixth by a half step, which makes it F. Lower the seventh by a half step, which makes it G natural. That's a lot of different steps. That's like 3 steps. Why not just think of it as a C major scale starting on A, yes. Think of it as a C major scale starting on A. That way you don't have to input sharps here and there, lower this, whatever, 6, 7, third. It's just a C major scale starting on A. Also known as the Aeolian mode. If you take a look at my other tutorial on major scale modes, this might make a little bit more sense. So the C major scale starting on the 6th tone is the Aeolian mode, which also means the natural minor scale. Here's another thing that I'm finding that a lot of my students are doing. They're memorizing their scales by fingering patterns. For them, a C major scale is open, 1 and 3, 1 and 2 first, open, 1 and 2 second, open. So they're not memorizing scales, they're memorizing fingering patterns. So to them, their scale doesn't look like this. In their mind's eye, it probably looks like numbers, okay? I'm going to suggest don't memorize your scales by fingering patterns, because you're going to have a heck of a time playing your modes because you're going to get lost in numbers. You want to think about notes. Maybe think about notes in your mind's eye, but as a trumpet player, try not to think about fingering patterns because that's not going to translate over into other modes. So they have a really hard time. Those who learn this way, I say, okay, play your C major scale starting on A, and they have to think about it, what's the fingering pattern, rather than in their mind's eye seeing this scale. So give it a try, learning your scales by modes and not fingering patterns. Go to my website, jefflewistrumpet.com. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be glad to answer them.